Now, guys, COVID is the most dangerous excuse of all because it's essentially an excuse to never do anything difficult ever again. That's my opinion. Like, yes, COVID is dangerous, but at the end of the day, it's like the end-all, be-all excuse. You don't want to work out? COVID. You don't really want to work today? You're coughing? COVID. Right? Social obligations, right? Whatever, COVID. And now it's like, okay, back off. Right? It's like you no longer have to make an effort. Taking time for yourself is not you being selfish. Because you know what? How can you be expected to take care of all these other people if you're not taking care of yourself? What is up, guys? John here, aka Bruce Lee. Today we're talking about how to overcome your top 10 excuses. This is just my strategy from the perspective of a kickboxing teacher here in Canada. Now, I hear all sorts of stuff at work or even just with friends or just talking with like family or just hell, even just talking at the gym of like excuses that people use to not either work out, take a self-care day, take care of their mental health. Now, self-care can come in many ways, you guys. Even a lot of what I'm talking about today will be like referencing like, you know, not going to the gym. It's gonna apply to a lot of other facets in life, you know. Like for some people, maybe the gym isn't necessarily their de-stressor, right? There's all sorts of things you can do in terms of self-care. Now, number 10 is gonna be how to cope and overcome COVID. I know COVID is an absolutely dangerous excuse and it is absolutely depressing to deal with on all fronts, and it sucks. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna cure you of COVID or cure you of the effects of like COVID lockdowns and etc. But I'm gonna give you a couple of strategies to help you cope and help you get through strong. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video. And by the way, guys, if you enjoy the video, please leave a like because it helps out the channel big time. And if you're enjoying the content and you want to see more of me and want to hang out with me again, please consider subscribing, as it would mean a lot to me. I mostly do like martial arts breakdowns, but I also do like fitness, nutrition, and motivation stuff. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into number 1. So number 1 we're going over today, guys, is gonna be I'm easing into it. Which, you know, inherently, it's not that it doesn't make sense, but it kind of like the stuff that you do because of the statement absolutely don't make sense. So here's my example. You haven't worked out in like 6 years, right? You had a kid 6 years ago. They have 6-year-olds today, and they're finally going to school. You have some free time. You have a bit of a routine to get your life back in order. You want to get back into fitness. You're like, you know what? I haven't worked out in 6 years, so I'm gonna ease into it. And then we're like, okay, when do you want to come to the gym? Like, I'll come tomorrow. You go in tomorrow, you get sore, you get tired, and you're like, wow, that was good. And the day after, you're sore from the first workout in 6 years. And you know what you do? You end up taking 3 weeks off until the next workout. To me, that absolutely makes 0 sense. Like where I work, we usually recommend you come into the gym like 3 times per week. And if you're easing into it, it doesn't mean you're doing 1 a week. It doesn't mean you're doing it 1 every like 2 weeks or like once a month or whenever you feel like it, you're not sore. You're still doing 3 times a week. But when you're easing into it, that should mean that you're modifying or maybe reducing the pace compared to some of the other students in class or whatever it is to get you through those 3 workouts, okay? So if your trainer says, hey, I need to see you 3 times a week minimum, maybe 4, and you want to ease into it, don't start going once a week. Like, you still want to do 3 or 4 times a week, and you can still ease into it without just like, you know, absolutely like taking forever to get back into it. So other than just the call out which I did there, which, you know, if this relates to you at home, don't worry, you're in the same boat as a lot of people. One of the things I like to think about when I'm like have this whole like I'm easing into it because like I have an injury or like I haven't worked out in a while or this or that, like for me, if I want those results fast, easing into it is the best way to slow myself down. So whatever you think you're trying to do by like, oh, protecting yourself or like, I don't want to injure myself or go overboard, blah, 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 blah. I will tell you right now, it's just a bunch of BS, all right? I'm telling you, you can survive 3 workouts a week even if you've never worked out in your whole entire life. If you're taking it easy, that's okay. You're modifying the push-up. You're modifying the squat. You're going at your own pace. That's easing into it, okay? Doing it once a week is just, for me, is just not going to get you any results. Number 2, I'm too tired or I'm just too lazy. Now, this for me is a really tough one to get over, especially with like, let's put it into COVID perspective too. Like when we're at home even more than ever, like we're not really seeing people. Like for me, I ride off the energy of the room, not just just in like work or like in like fitness, but just like in general, you know, like I think you really are a product of who you're with in that moment, if that makes sense. And by not being around the normal people that we see day to day, it really takes a big hit on our energy. But you know what, even before COVID, people would tell me they're too tired because of work. Like they'll sit in the office 8 hours a day and they're too tired to go for a run. And I know a lot of you relate to this, but when you think about it, like you're sitting down 8 hours, and yes, it's mentally taxing, but what is stopping your body from just going out there and doing it, right? It's stress. It's stress. So what you gotta do is manage the stress, okay? Not just like for some people, I can just rile them up and be like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. And after like a super long shift at the office, they're able to work out and do well. But not everyone responds to that. You know, everyone's a little bit different. So what I would say is that what you can do is, instead of trying to like increase your energy level, just decrease the stuff that's taking your energy away, right? That's stress, that's fighting, that's self-reflection that's not productive, right? Like when you self-reflect and you're like, you know what, I could have spoken to that person nicer today, or like, you know what, I maybe could have gone to the gym today. That's productive way of like self-reflection. But when you're kind of beating yourself up in your mind, right? You're like, oh man, I'm so fat, I'm a loser, why did I say that thing, was so stupid, like, oh man, I'm such an idiot in front of my friends sometimes. And remember that one time in 6th grade where I embarrassed myself in front of the whole class? Oh, like you want to just remove those thoughts entirely and think about not getting stressed out or how to deal with your stress, okay? Like the stressful things are going to happen in your life. I get that, but you do choose how you deal with that stress. Number 3, and this is one of my probably the biggest pet peeves of mine, of the people when I'm trying to invite them to come to the gym and they're like, oh, you know, like I'm easing into it. I go for walks though. I go for walks. Oh my God. Here's the thing, guys, right? Like if you're walking 20-30 minutes a day, like realistically, you're burning like anywhere from like 60 to 100 calories, which is nearly like nothing when you think about it, all right? So for example, if you walk down the block and back, you maybe burn like 30 calories at best, and now you're gonna go have a donut, which is 300 calories as like a reward for your like activity that day. Or like where I am in Calgary, there's these things in downtown called like plus 15s. Essentially, they're like they're second floor walkways that connect all the buildings in downtown. So if you're working like downtown offices, you can get almost to every single major office in downtown without stepping outside. Because, you know, I'm in Canada, it gets really cold out here. And because people go walk on the plus 15 like during like their lunch break, they're like, wow, I'm active, I'm in shape, I'm doing something for my health. You might as well be doing nothing. Or like taking the stairs at work for like 1 or 2 flights like 3 times a day. And guys, that's really like literally nothing, right? Like a warm-up would be that times like 15, and that's just to warm up. That's not even the workout itself. So trying to sub your workout with like healthy habits of like, you know, like 10,000 steps in a day, like that's not a bad habit to go with, just to keep like your metabolism up and get you moving somewhat. But it really does not replace the workout, okay? It doesn't replace high intensity interval training. It doesn't replace cardio. It doesn't replace strength training. It's not doing that much for you. So guys, just because you go for a walk, so you walk your dog every day, doesn't mean you're staying in shape and taking care of yourself. Number 4 and 5, which I combined into one because it's kind of easier to talk about together, is that I need to be motivated, or I don't like to exercise alone. And this one for me, guys, is I maybe have one of the more controversial solutions or like advice, so to speak. Like usually what people, like if you hear this, I think the first inclination is like, you know what, find a friend to work out with you, find someone to work out with you. And for me, I actually hate that advice. I think that's the worst thing you can do, because now, like, if you need someone to exercise with you, like all you're doing is feeding your codependency. Now, this might be a tough pill to swallow, but if you need someone to hold your hand to the gym, you're just not really being an adult. You're just not really being a self-sufficient adult, okay? Think about who needs help to cross the street, everybody? Is it adults? It's kids. So are you an adult or are you a kid? That's just how I see it, okay? So for me, like trying to like, get your sister involved, it might be fun because you can see your sister at the gym. It might be fun to see your friend at the gym or your dad at the gym. But at the end of the day, if you'll only go because they're going, it might help your guys' accountability for a while. but at best, it'll only ever help you intermittently. Guys, you need to find your own motivation, whatever that is, and the excuse of just being like, I need to be motivated is not enough. It means you're not trying to be, like, if you're not trying hard enough and someone says you're not motivated or you feel like you're unmotivated, what you need to do is try to get motivated, right? Like, instead of like, you know, like, you could take 2 steps here. Instead of going from like where you're at to working out 5 days a week, what you could do is like not working out and be like, okay, what can I do to start making an investment in my health? Like, you know what? I want to start to eat healthier. You know, I want to start following fitness and motivation pages. I want to start talking to people who are part of fitness and just to get their thoughts. I want to get motivated that way. I want to see some real life stories of some people around me. I want to surround myself with good people. And as you do all those other steps, it makes you motivated to go to the gym. Okay, so if you can't get from here to there, take the steps. But waiting for someone to hold your hand to get you to the gym, like, guys, I've seen it happen like loads of times in just my career or even just being at the gym in general. And I'm telling you, when your friend doesn't want to show up for like because their boyfriend's coming over or they have a rehearsal or they want to watch Netflix or their stupid foot hurts or whatever it is, you're not going either. And that for me is a weakness. So guys, reduce the codependency. And if that's hard to hear, self-awareness, guys, because it's okay to you know, inherently go to the gym, especially for the first time. It can be embarrassing, it can be intimidating, and maybe you want someone there with you. That's different from needing someone to hold your hand every single day for the rest of your life to go to the gym. I just don't think that's any way to live. Number 6, I don't have time. For me, I hate this one. So you know what? Everyone, look at your phone. For most people, look at your phone or look at your Netflix, and you can actually see, so on your phone, you can actually do a weekly screen time. If it's anything over 2 or 3 hours, you had time to go to the gym that week. I don't care how you try to spin it, you had time that week, okay? Like, yes, you can use your phone much easier, like, you know, like at work or on lunch break or this and that, but like, let's say you're on your phone 30 minutes a day for lunch, okay? And that puts on, I don't know what it is, like 3 hours in a week. Okay, if you look at a week's time, it says you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours of screen time. You have enough time to go to the gym. You have enough time to go to the gym, period, bing, bang, bop. If you watch more than 3 shows on Netflix that are brand new, let's say TV. So Netflix, and actually you can just check the same thing like your screen time. But if you watch TV, like you don't really go on your phone a whole lot, you don't really watch Netflix a whole lot, but you have cable. If you can think of 3 shows you watch every single week that are brand new episodes, you had time to go to the gym. That's the truth of it, right? Because each one of those shows could have been a workout. I don't care what you're talking about, like commute or motivation or whatever it is that's keeping you occupied. Theoretically speaking, or just like a quintessentially black and white speaking, you had time. You had time, okay? If you wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning and you don't have to work till 9, you had time to work out, okay? If you get home at 6 and the kids are in bed by 8 and you go to bed by 10, you had time. That's the plain truth of it, okay? And trying to pretend like you don't is just nonsensical to me. Number 7. This one is a tricky one to talk about, which is I have kids. Now, full disclaimer, you guys, I personally do not have kids of my own. So I'm only going kind of operating off of like secondhand experience from like students of mine, people I train with, people I've worked out with who have kids. It's really tricky. I get that. Like when you're so responsible and so basically in love with your kid, you want the best for them. It's hard to like branch away from that or separate from that and take care of yourself. But I'll tell you a few things that are really good on terms of strategy. So number 1. Again, think about how much phone or TV time you have, okay? And how about this? Don't allow yourself to have any TV or phone lounging time until you've worked out for the day. It's what you do for your kids, right? No dessert until you've eaten your vegetables. And some people don't agree with that kind of parenting. That's fine. But there's a reason why that's worked for like, you know, eons, all right? Or what I believe has worked for eons. So for you, if you think you don't have time because of your kids, how about this? Make an agreement with yourself that you can't you can't watch the TV, you can't open up your phone, you can't lounge around on Facebook until that workout for the day is done. And you'll be surprised how magically, whoa, I do have time. Wow. The other thing that I find really is good, especially when your kids start to get a little bit older, is make them a part of the exercise. Introduce them to fitness yourself and be on the journey with them. So imagine if anyone out here has felt like they're not really an athlete, or they've always had trouble, like, you know, like growing up, like they've never been like an athlete per se, or athlete persona, and they've never really had a consistent time at the gym, or they never felt like they were like super ripped. That's fine. And think about the last time you were happy with your body and how long ago that was. Now, if you think about how hard it is for you to get into fitness, like, it's so, like, I'm sure you've tried. If you're watching this video, it's because you've tried to get into fitness and you're still getting into it, or it's working, or it's not working. But you know, I know that you as a viewer know that it's hard to get into. Now imagine a kid who's never ever like had any exposure to the gym or fitness whatsoever. How hard is it for them to get in that athlete or that like healthy persona if you don't show them how? So I highly recommend you guys, like at where I work, like we teach a lot of like mother-daughter, father-son, mother-son, father-daughter, doesn't matter. We see a lot of family combos for that same reason. It keeps you both in shape, gives you both something to talk about. You get to spend time with your kid, and you're both getting healthier. That's a win-win-win. And as a reminder, guys, what I'm going to talk about a little bit later is that it's not selfish to take care of you. I know you gotta take care of like the husband, you gotta take care of the wife, you gotta take care of the kids, and your mom's calling you. But you know what? Taking time for yourself is not you being selfish. Because you know what? How can you be expected to take care of all these other people if you're not taking care of yourself? Okay, like imagine like, you know, all the people on the Titanic that were like overboard, the ship that came to save them was running out of gas. Doesn't make any sense. All right, take care of yourself, guys. Don't beat yourself up. Number 8. This one is kind of funny. This one is I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too uncoordinated, I'm just too embarrassed. And for me, this one's a really tough one to wrap my head around. Like I wouldn't consider myself old. I'm not like, you know, I'm not gonna say what old means, because old means something different to every person. But I don't think I'm an old person, so to speak. But I don't think it's ever too late. Like at our gym, like we have someone who tried kickboxing for her first time when she was like 76. Okay, our oldest kickboxer of the company was like 93 or something ridiculous like that. So no matter how late you are, it's not too late. Like if you're 55 and you think your fitness journey is over, think about this. What if you live another 40 years? Okay, if you're 80, people are living like 100 now. What if you have another 20 years? It's never too late. That should never be a reason to keep you back, okay? If you're fat, uncoordinated, embarrassed, you know how you get away, get rid of that? Get rid of the fat, get rid of that feeling, increase your coordination, is you have to go to the gym. So it's actually nonsensical. Of like, you know what? Because I'm fat, I'm never gonna work out the fat. Like it really, to me, makes no sense whatsoever. Guys, get to the gym. Number 9. I don't like to sweat / I have to redo my makeup. I actually have no advice for this because I don't put on makeup. I don't know the struggle. Like the worst thing I've had to deal with is like waiting for my girlfriend at the time, or at whatever time, to be finished doing their makeup, and I'm just like sitting on my phone waiting for it. Like that's the extent of the inconvenience or like the pain point of like makeup. So I don't have any advice on that, but I do hear it a lot, and I don't know everything. So I thought just like leaving that in my list, even though I didn't have an answer for it, just felt like more honest. So sorry guys, but or girls, women, but I don't have advice for that. Like I would say you know, I don't know, waterproof. Actually, no, I'm not even gonna comment. Guys, let's move on to number 10. Now, this is the big one. It's how to cope with COVID. Now, before I get into this, you guys, I will say that during COVID, it is tougher to be part of the fitness kind of journey, right? It's harder to work out at home. It's harder, you know, to stay in shape when, like, you can't see your trainers, everything's remote, and maybe, you know, you didn't sign up for online training. But we're gonna talk about all that right now. How to cope with COVID. Now this, Now guys, COVID is the most dangerous excuse of all, because it's essentially an excuse to never do anything difficult ever again. That's my opinion. Like, yes, COVID is dangerous, but at the end of the day, it's like the end all be all excuse. You don't want to work out? COVID. You don't really want to work today? You're coughing? COVID. Right? Social obligations, right? Seeing your friends, making effort to see your family, calling people, this, that, whatever, COVID. And now it's like, okay, back off. right? It's like you no longer have to make an effort. I'm not trying to discount any, full disclaimer here, you guys, like I'm not trying to discount or undermine, invalidate anyone's depression. Like COVID has taken a big toll on our mental health, and I absolutely understand that, you guys. And I'm not gonna say like, hey, just like snap out of it, right? Like that's not how you fix depression. But I am saying that it is dangerous to lean on COVID as an excuse, which I think is coming up. I think we are putting ourselves in a position where we don't have to do anything difficult. We don't have to go out of our way, because we'll always have a backup excuse that will cover all of our bases, and that is COVID. That is COVID, okay? Like, for example, I'll hear at work, I'll hear from friends, I'll hear from, actually not my parents. My parents have been doing decent in COVID, so good for them. You know what? I hear it all the time of like, hey, why aren't you like keeping up with your fitness? Well, the gyms are closed. I'm like, okay, is your instructor still around? Yeah, but, it's hard to contact him, because of COVID. Doesn't really make sense. Like, well, are they doing virtual classes? I feel like every single fitness business in the world is transferred to online. They're like, oh yeah, I just don't really I don't have space. I don't have space at home. I don't like to do it online. Guys, if you have a bed, you have space to do a workout at home. That's my honest opinion, right? Like, you can do if you have the space of a bed, you can do push-ups on it, you can do sit-ups on it, you can do squats on it, you can jump on it. Like, you can work out. Now, if you have a better place to work out than your bed, like, go for it. I'm just saying, if you have a bed, you have the space for it, right? If you said you didn't have time before, guys, COVID lockdowns are the most free time you will ever have. So if you're not working out now, when is it gonna happen? Now, this is a tough one, but what I will say, just like from my experience trying to keep in shape or trying to keep motivated during COVID, and also trying to be in the fitness industry during COVID, is that what you gotta do is that anything that comes your way, you have to be able to pivot, adapt, and overcome. You have to be, I know it's a classic Bruce Lee thing, and this, it's a Bruce Lee channel. You have to be like water, formless, shapeless. Be water, my friend. But for real though, if your gym only does online, do it online. You don't like online, find a way to like online. That's what it is, right? Guys, if you're wondering how to deal with COVID, I'll tell you how. You don't have a choice. That is how you deal with COVID. That's it. That is all. And just accepting that and getting past it, I think, is the only way to move forward. Because whether it's, again, like this, being that it's part of this channel, like I'm mostly talking about like fitness today, but whether it's like, like I used to paint a lot and now COVID hit, so I don't paint anymore. Or I used to draw a lot, or like I used to talk to my friends a lot, and now because of COVID, I don't see them. Call them, right? Like, you don't know, like you can't get your painting supplies, order on Amazon. Like, guys, whatever it is, you find a way, okay? Whatever the problem is, you find a way to make it work, okay? Don't take no for an answer, because the only person telling you no, I think personally, is you, okay? So I know it's a tough thing to get around, but COVID might not ever leave our society. So if this is the new normal, you're waiting for it to go back to normal, or whatever it is, it doesn't really matter, because the world won't wait for you. Your health won't wait for you. Your health won't wait for COVID. COVID won't wait for you, okay? So waiting for things you can't control, for me, is just never, ever, ever the way to go. Focus on what you can do, and you can do a lot more than you think. Let's leave it for there, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video, or you found some value in it, you found some motivation from it, or really anything. If you got anything from it, that's what I was going for. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, because it means a lot to me and also really supports my channel. And I hope that you'll want to stick around for the next video. I'll be doing some more movie breakdowns, self-defense breakdowns, fitness tips, nutrition tips, and beginner guides to get into fitness. Like, whatever you can think of, it's coming, and you don't want to miss it. So please subscribe, hit the bell notification, and comment below if this helped you, if you disagree or agree with anything I said, or anything that you want to talk about, guys. Comment, because I always check them and I always enjoy them. I'm gonna sign off for now. Bruce Lee is out, and I will see you next time.